All right, Cyber Traders, good afternoon and welcome on back here this Thursday, June 23rd, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for a lot of us here, perhaps, time to wake on up. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Great to see Kathleen and Leda joining us, at least to begin. Michael's still sticking with us here from earlier. Great to see Michael back. Lewis, loud and clear from all. And great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. Folks, normally, it's not like the best time of the day to be trading. Right now, normally, it wouldn't be. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of things moving and a lot of things that have been moving throughout the entire day. So, hey, if you made your days pay early, you have every right to, step away and go out and play, right? Like we always say here. But you know what? If you're at your desk and you're watching a lot of these stocks, begin to move without you, it's a matter of finding big levels. It's a matter of trying to see if the stock could break through those big levels on the way up. And with that leads us here to MSPR. Ended up making a nice break over the VWAP just earlier, and we had commented on that just as a call out before we started this meeting. So the MSPR trade ended up making a really nice pop when the market opened up from like 190 up towards 250. Obviously just broke higher now. It broke over a big iceberg order on the ask at 250 for about 110,000 shares. Really quickly, as I'm kind of flapping my gums here. I'm trying to pull up Bookmap so I could show all of us right now what happens here on this MSPR. So bear with me for a quick moment. You could see right on Bookmap here, we had a big iceberg order for about 105, 109,000 or so shares. Well, it just broke above it. So you would hope to see resistance get flipped into support, or if anything, for this to, just break above resistance and fly. Well, it started to fly, but it came back down pretty quickly, actually as quick as it had popped. That is a bit of a red flag. So be careful on this trade right now. I mean, the MSPR right now, it needs to not only get back above 250 imminently here, but more so to move off it, make that, as support and then break higher going into the afternoon. The fact it pulled back under it here at this point, it's not as good of a signal here, more of a red flag than anything. Given how much this stock had dropped off back from the end of May into June, this basically been the theme of the week here. All these various short squeezes that we've been following, right? So this is just another one of them. But we know what happens when the volume dies off. We know what happens when the momentum dies off for a lot of these trades. The stock ends up going with it. The stock ends up dying off itself. So, just be careful, but MSPR I'll definitely, put back on our list for right now. All right, so the markets are starting to push back up. That's actually a pretty good sign for my NEO trade, which, NEO is pushing back up still. Good. All right, so I had a pretty good morning, folks, between the NEO trade, VEDU, and then even aside from the ones, I traded, the ones that I didn't trade, you folks cleaned up on too. But it's to say that, across the afternoon, I've been following, a lot of these stocks still. And I did get chopped up a little bit. I gave back some of my profit from this morning, still up on the day. And, with that said, I ended up jumping into NEO once it broke above big resistance off of 22.55. I saw the markets begin to slow down on the downtrend there. And, once it broke out or once it broke back up, I ended up going long on NEO. So I'm currently in that trade from 22.55 level. It's currently at 22.73. So I'll show that trade in just a bit. I am in one other stock. I'll show that also. Actually, that one probably a lot sooner. It's on the percent gainers list, VRM. I'd made mention of that inside our live trading room earlier. So let's just go right from top to bottom, folks. We'll kind of just see what else is out there, and then we'll also go over some of the big moves that we caught from this morning. Now, I will say I did not get my hands on this B-hat trade. I wish I could say I did. Ended up making a beautiful push when the market opened up. I know a bunch of us inside our live trading room ended up going in and out on this one throughout the day. Robert was in and out for a few different trades for about 20 or 30 cents. I know one of our longtime students, Phil, got about 17 or 20 cents on his trade. John and Grant, Norman, all from the morning were on it. Bobby got about 39 cents himself on just one trade. Actually, he had a couple of different trades. So I want to give one of our students a quick shout out here. Bobby O. Bobby ended up jumping in for about 39 cents actually at first in the morning. At 11:04, he made a comment inside our live trading room. He was in from 143 out at 182, but actually across the early afternoon, he jumped back in and he was in from 245, got out at 325. He posted that just earlier at 106 Eastern time. So congratulations to Robert, congratulations to Bobby, obviously, and all of us that ended up doing well on this BHAT trade. But yeah, for right now, I mean, right now this stock is making lower highs. It's definitely possible to see it make a lower low. It's also possible for it to hold here and break out higher. We've seen a lot of these stocks, show continuation of late. But, for right now, let's respect the lower highs. And for right now, it's pulling back off of 3. And that's something that we had namely called out inside our trading room earlier. I'd said, hey, it's testing 3 as support again. I think it's going to break under it. Watch out. And with that, it's only been an ugly trade since. So I'll come back to this if we need to. I wouldn't have a problem putting this back on our list if it ends up, making a higher low from here and squeezing back up by the time we finish up this meeting. All right, FSTX. I'm going to skip over it. It's a buyout. So that's at least something I do know off the top of my head. MDJH, at least for right now. I mean, hey, this one ended up making a beautiful push beginning from 2 o'clock, more of like a recent run we ended up seeing here. Stock went from 160 all the way up to 310, 315-ish. So I don't have my book map open for this trade, my level 4, but I'll definitely load it up after we finish up this meeting for all of us live inside the room. Hey, it's very active across the last 30 or so minutes here. I don't like the drop off. I'll be honest with you. I don't like the drop off the highs. That's where you're seeing the volume begin to die off. And obviously, this already had a nasty shake to it. It could easily continue. And with that, I want to bring up one of the call outs I had from earlier today. This one did not work out. This one was more of a bust. So give me a quick moment. I'll scroll up here inside the trading room. I'll tell you about a quick loser I had. Part of the profits I gave back from earlier this morning. TIRX, right? TIRX. You could see the stock ended up making a nice pop, 1:30 Eastern time, pushed up beautifully. Well, it ended up beginning to top off here, and at the time when it had pulled back, I was looking for support off of like 110, 109. With that, I jumped in. Well, it ended up pulling back rather fast after I got in, and I took a 4-cent loss. It's the type of stock you could trade a lot of shares on too, if you could imagine. So this was really something that actually clipped me a little bit, gave back some of my profits on. Well, I hoped for a bigger move up, and if I held on to my trade instead of getting out like I did, if I held on to the trade, this thing would have killed me. So that's where I could say the same to be said, at least, on that MDJH trade. Don't let that end up being the TIRX, right? So again, I'll come back to it if I need to. All right, we continue. Pets, another one. Pop it, drop. I mean, again, we always talk about this, but when the volume dies off, so does the stock. And when we say the volume dying off, I mean, just aside from this spike here first, just see the volume bars get smaller and smaller. For as much as this ran up, you're seeing less and less volume being traded, and volume promotes volatility, right? So with that, well, we ended up seeing more volume getting filled afterwards, but it was of the selling variety. And with that, the stock tanked. So, hey, this is one to keep on your side list, perhaps, given not just the move up today, but also the potential gap fill. That's something to also keep an eye on. So maybe tomorrow, but that maybe, right? That's the key word. So it only seems like it's only going to continue to dump off here. I had high hopes on CLVS over, the early parts of this week. That obviously hasn't been looking too good today. All right, Rain. This one we didn't really call out, actually. Popped up early this morning. Same to be said, though. Completely dropped off after. VRM. All right, VRM is one of the stocks I'd made mention of just before. for right now, I'm in this trade. I have a tight stop set, but ended up making a big push from the morning, and I'm looking for the VWAP to basically hold around as support on my level 4. Actually, I have my VWAP set at like 155, 154, which is a little off from TradeStation here. So I know it's just to say I still have a tight stop set on my position right now. I really would want to see this break higher imminently, otherwise, I'm gonna get stopped. But right now, I was hoping for the bigger push at this point. I was hoping to, come to this trade and tell you, hey, I was in or I'm in and I'm up like 5, 6, 8 cents. I'm not. I'm in from 155 right now and just break even or so. So, that's a bit of a red flag for me personally. So you always hear me say this, just because I'm in a position or I show you something I'm in, doesn't mean it's going to work out. Certainly hope it does, but at this point in the trade, truth be told, it only seems like it's going to begin to kind of pull back a bit. So if it does pop from this point, we'll put it on our list. But if not, I think there's better fish out there to try and catch. Always cut it to you folks straight. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see. XXII. Rich had called this out earlier inside our live trading room. Beautiful push across the entire day. And again, history, I guess, is repeating itself on this one. But, broke out from yesterday. Only continued to push up this morning. Took a while to get the gears going, as I like to say there. But, broke out and ran since. So for right now, I'll definitely put this on our watch list. Has a couple of orders on the ask at 246, 260. I would say roughly every 5 cents. This is likely to have some bigger order out there on the bid or the ask. So namely, you could see at least at 246 and 260, two pretty big orders. 250 also should be pretty big. I think that just popped up, if I'm not mistaken. 37,500 or so shares. So, XXII, I'll put on the main list. All right, what else we got here, folks? What else we got? We got, was Traeger grills, right? Cook. I think Fausto was pretty happy to see Cook making a move here today. Nice push from earlier this morning. It's another short squeeze in the making, given how much it had dropped off from last year, new IPO, but popped up at first, then only dropped off since. So it has a lot of recovery room, right? It's near the highs of the day right now, and it's pretty liquid. So you know what? I like this one too. Cook. I'll put this on the main list. That, I guess, leads me to Weber, which I think I skipped over. And with that said, Weber Grills. Oh, man, I don't know if it's the Father's Day rub or what, but we ended up seeing Traeger make a big push today, Weber getting a big push today. And Weber made a big push from yesterday as well. So, this one a lot more volatile, probably more of like a level 3 to 4 in terms of how we categorize these stocks. But yeah, Weber looking great here right now. Just look to see if this makes a higher low at some point on a pullback. But, it's looking pretty sharp here for right now. Look for a false breakout maybe and then the slam. But yeah, Weber looking pretty strong. The Cook trade looking good too. Do you have any other grill stocks, folks? Do we know any other grill companies? That's a joke. That's a joke. Don't take time to look into that. I think it's just those two. I don't necessarily care to look for others because we have our hands occupied with these two to begin. We don't need to follow, 8 or 10 different stocks when these two are really cooking. How about that? Pun intended, obviously there. All right, let's see what else we got, folks. Just not much else I see on the gainer side. Market, albeit moving up, is in a bit of a range, right? We talked about range in our phase 2 class yesterday. Let's see. RAD Rite up big right now. It's near the highs. Brian got a kick out of that. All right, so happy that made you laugh, Brian. There we go. Rite Aid is at the highs here. I mean, it's just looking a little slow for right now, right? So you want to see a stock looking a lot sharper at the highs, a la Weber, right? That stock was really pushing up pretty nicely. Same to be said on Cook. So, it looks interesting at the highs here. If it shows more volume, perhaps we'll consider it. I'll put it on the side list right now at the BHAT, the MDJH. All right, folks, if there's anything else looking good on the gainer side here, type it in the chat board. Let me know. Actually, before we hop over to the loser side, wanted to look at one familiar name, ZEV. And the reason I only clicked on this stock, much like kind of yesterday, I think it was with the Kirkland trade, it's a stock that you just remember over the years. Had a big pop here at this point, ended up pulling back, but it was back from, I believe, last year. Yeah, or from 2020 even. This was a new IPO at the time, ended up making a huge pop and breakout back then from 10 all the way up to 17. So, it was on our watch list back then. If this stock can make a fraction of the type of run it made, back then, it would be a home run. So, yeah, the ZEV trade here, I'm going to put on our watch list. I just wish it was trading a little bit more volume per minute, but this stock doesn't really have too liquid of an order book. Good spread, and it is liquid enough. That's why I'm putting it on our list, right? It's not untradeable. So, right now you just want to see this trade a little bit more volume, show more buying, and this is in the making for a nice push. All right, let's hop on over to the losers list here, folks. BTCM taking a huge hit. I don't think this is a Bitcoin mining stuff. Is it Bit mining? Oh, wrong there. I'm thinking of Bit Brothers. There's another ticker there that I always thought was Bitcoin affiliated, but it's not. I think this one is. BTCM took a huge hit today. I don't know what happened. Looks like they had a registered direct offering of shares totaling $16 million. So that was from earlier today. That does explain the big drop. So it's not necessarily Bitcoin related as to why this had dropped off, but they're just expanding their liquidity, their outstanding shares. All right, TWI. Wow, talk about a stock at the lows right now at this time of the day. Hey, it's not just the stocks that we're looking to buy; it's the stocks that we may look to short and follow on the way down here, heading into the afternoon. So, hey, I like this one right now. TWI looks pretty interesting. It's just at 14 support right now. Not a whole lot of volume is just filled there off of 14. So, you would hope to see that be a big level. It really hasn't been so far. Folks, really quickly, just so you know, just so we're on the same page as of right now, I just pulled the plug on my VRM long. I just took a 2-cent loss rather than a 4-cent loss. So that's just all I'm telling you right there. It's not really going anywhere, so I just wanted to pull the plug before it just broke a little bit lower. And we'll see if I'm right or wrong with that, but there's always time to re-enter, right? So the NEO trade still looking interesting, still on that, but otherwise the VRM I just jumped out of. All right, so folks, TWI looks good. What else we got? We have CENX, aluminum stock, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Aluminum taking a bit of a hit here today. CENX down over 18%, near 19 right now. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of volume is just filled off of 7 either. If anything, from consolidation, probably from the first time it hit the order. But, otherwise, your next support level seems to be off of like 690. See what happens off like 690, 685, perhaps, if there's anything bigger joining the bid at that time. But, as a short, I don't mind it. IPI, a little expensive. And if anything, it's just trading over that minimum that we look for at this time of the day, volume total wise, and just it's got a thin book. This is not really the type of stock you want to have your eyes on at this point. I mean, good direction, right? But otherwise, like I'd say, TWI is the more compelling trade of the two, and CENX. All right, let's see, folks. I think that just about wraps it up here on the losers list. I only started, but normally you don't really have as much on the loser side at this time of the day. A lot of things normally hard to borrow. I'll tell you the truth, there are some things that are easy to borrow here, so I'm still taking a more delicate look. But otherwise, a lot of things that are probably just trading less volume than you would want to see. Deutsche Bank, completely dead. DK, it's at the lows, just it's not trading a whole lot of volume per minute, and it's got a thin book. So I don't have really a huge need to put this on our list. It's not terrible, but otherwise, Pump. Yeah, Pump at least is more liquid comparing this between this and the other one. It's actually a really nice downtrend, right? A lot of these petroleum oil stocks taking a bit of a hit right now, it seems. EDU. Wow. Talk about EDU. I haven't seen EDU today since the morning, since the market open, at least, I should say. So we were following another education company today, VEDU. ended up making a nice pop, then drop. EDU started the morning off on the percent gainers list. Now it's down over 9 or close to 10%. Well, this stock is dropping off, breaking below the lows that we had back from a couple days ago. All right, well, you know what? This stock is shortable, showing some good direction, trading a lot of volume per minute. I like it. All right, let's see, folks. What else we got here? CPG, 18 million shares. That's a lot. So, $6.78 stock. Yeah, hey, this one took a huge hit here too. So a lot of these energy, petroleum stocks perhaps down. If there's any others, folks, that looks good on the way down, let me know. Type it in the chat board. So far, we have a pretty good list already. But the CPG could be added here too, alongside the TWI, the CENX, EDU on the way down. Michael says affirm, and then Leda says before him apron perking up. So we'll take a look at a couple of these trades from the Cyber Group room first, then we'll jump to all of us on YouTube right now. A few comments coming in there. Apron, little low volume, pushing up a little bit, but for right now, I'll pass. Could be a short squeeze stock given the right conditions, but right now we'll pass on it. The Affirm stock definitely a lot more active. It's up, pretty nice today, up over 10%, pushing up to the highs. So you know what? I like this trade. This Affirm stock looks pretty interesting, especially if we happen to see another squeeze back up to the highs within the market here, the SPY. So Affirm, I'll put on the main list. Looks good. We had DK. I may as well look up DKNG, DraftKings, just side list stock that we'll keep an eye on. Hood, Robin Hood here, moving up a little bit. Nothing too special about it right now. American Airlines, we'll look at an airline or a cruise line perhaps. I mean, again, just moving with the market right now. Nothing too particular about it. The SIGA trade, one that we've had our eye on for a little while here. It's just been flat for a little while here, but starting to push up. I was short on this trade from 13 earlier today. I ended up getting out just over 1260. I let it go down to like 1230-ish, and I really wanted that breakdown lower, but didn't get it. You gotta pull the plug here before it ends up, moving all the way back up, and you waste the profit. So, I'm happy with what I got, but it just kind of died off after. The NEO trade in particular, I'd say, is one of the more active, side list stocks to keep an eye on. I know that Fausto was interested in this trade enough to put it on the pre-market watch list early this morning. He might be converting to Team NEO with me. No, but like I told you, I'm in this trade right now from 22.56. So we're looking pretty good on the long, so long as the markets show strength on the way up across the afternoon. And then if they don't, then perhaps I'll just pull the plug, get out, take a smaller profit than anticipated. But the reason I am long on NEO is what we were following from earlier today inside our live trading room. You don't see a 9.1 million share print on NEO too often. So, actually, this is a lot bigger than what we caught on Triple Witching Friday that we had back from the end of last week. So this morning, I opened up my platform, doing my usual scanning, and all of a sudden, I said out loud, WTF, and relatively extended version of that. So, I was like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. I've never seen anything this big. At 22.55, at least on NEO, a 9.1 million share print, well, ended up leading to a huge push early on. And well, hey, right now I'm looking for that to be big support. So yeah, I ended up jumping in on the NEO trade once it broke above the 22.55 level. I'm going to put this on our watch list specifically because of that size. I mean, just you don't see that happen too often. So, it's moving up still. It's pushing on up pretty nicely. And it ended up bouncing pretty nicely just now off of big support that we had lined up off of 22.66, I think that was just a moment ago. I'm in from 56, but the next level up is 66. And it just kind of bounced off there right now. So not only that, but I just want to give you a quick heads up again, folks. I don't have my stop set even on the trade, so I got to be fast. But this VRM, it's starting to eat back up. And just about 20 seconds ago, or before I turned back to the stock, I actually jumped back into this trade just on my other screen here. So you could see I literally just set my stop. I'm in on this trade. If it ends up slamming down and I get stopped out, then I'm going to move on from it. But it's back pushing on up a little bit there, just where I thought it was going to crash. So, hey, I took a 2-cent licking just before. I don't really care about the 2 cents. I actually don't care about the 2 cents either way, but I definitely don't care about the 2 cents if I have the chance to get back in and make 10, 15, 20 cents shortly after, right? So, you know what? Right now, this trade VRM, I'll put on our watch list now at this point. If it ends up completely shaking back down, then effectively we'll take it off our list. We'll kind of just focus on the firms out there that Michael called out, the Neos, which are looking still pretty sharp. The, Cook trade and Weber, the grill trades are looking pretty nice there. Pull back a little bit. It's got to pop, got to pop. This thing's got to push. All right, folks, let me check YouTube really quick before we sign off. On YouTube right now from RJF, who had called out much earlier, the Weber trade, so that one was looking pretty nice. CLVS from Mitch. Tease me here, CLVS, Mitch. Oh, look at this. I was just talking some smack on CLVS just before, right? And look at this push back on up right now. So the reason I was just talking a little smack on CLVS is because, a couple of days ago, we really wanted to see the continuated move, and we didn't get it. And then the following day, yesterday, it was very active in pre-market. It tried, but it didn't. And then now we're getting another run back up. This trend on the intraday looks, pretty sharp. So I'll tell you, we didn't look at this trade yet, Mitch. So it's a good call. A lot of stocks on our watch list here, folks. I've been doing a really good job of containing it. So in total so far, we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Baker's dozen. All right, so we might even have to consolidate this list down here. Just give me a quick second. B-Hat not looking good at all. So, obviously we're going to pass on that for right now. MDJH, oof, disgusting. I'm going to pass on that. The Rite Aid trade still at the highs, but I'm not as particular about it. Hey, it's there, but there's better ones out there for right now, I think. VRM for right now, we'll keep on our list. All the others that we kind of talked about just before. Let's jump back on a couple on the watch list that we kind of just put out here. ZEV, I mean, hey, that has to remain on our list. That one's looking probably the best out of everything so far at this point. The Weber trade, Cook, all those looking still pretty sharp. XXII, hey, it's at the high, so I have to keep it on our list for right now. But so far there are some others on our list that look better than this, right? So you have to be picky and choosy. This MSPR, I'm not a fan of the lower high now. It had pulled back and dropped. So if there's any room to scrap any stocks that we put on the list already, it would be this MSPR. I'm going to take this off the list. That's how we like to kind of consolidate, make it a little bit easier for us to follow. From Ascar joining us here, perhaps for the first time, at least the first time I've seen Ascar chat here on YouTube. Any color or any opinion on Ethereum to Bitcoin pair? I'll do that tomorrow. I'm not prepared to show that right now. I don't have crypto charts open right now, Ascar, but if you want to join us tomorrow, absolutely. I'll write that down right now so I don't forget. We'll talk about crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, namely, and maybe a couple of others, but the alt's been taking a bit of a hit over the last 6 months. I know the last couple of weeks, bit of a bounce, but I think there's more of a drop off coming up long term. So that's my general opinion, but we'll talk about crypto tomorrow. Hold me to that. And yes, we are still using level 3 because that's on the far right-hand side here, the TradeStation Matrix. And then otherwise we use level 4 Bookmap. From RJF here at the end, Pets. Pets not looking that great at this point. Nice move from early this morning or early this afternoon even. But for right now, we got to see more on this trade. Maybe you get a small second win type of move, but I think there's better ones out there for right now. Folks, I am 1 minute out from a coaching meeting with one of our students. I got to jump off this call right now. For all of us on YouTube, Facebook Live, I appreciate you sticking with me. If you have any questions, feel more than free to send over a quick email, josh@ctutrading.com. And then otherwise, if you're interested in joining our live trading room, continuing the audio commentary, I know that one of our instructors, Rich, will be jumping on the mic. About 30 seconds. Feel more than free to go right down to the link on the banner below right there to get yourself started. From Michael, Leda, Robert, and all of us just here live, I will be back on the mic myself right at 3:30 to close things out. Talk to you all soon.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.